Bob, always great to talk with you.
Thank you, Jenny. It's always a pleasure, and I know there are a lot of folks that are always interested out there in your interviews and your analysis. So I'm sure we're going to reach a lot of people with some very important topics today.
Well, a very important topic, no question about it. You've got a Long Island man, George Grier, I think I'm saying his name right, says he was trying to protect his family from what he thought might be members of that brutal MS-13 gang. But the police say he crossed over the line when he fired his AK-47 into the ground. You say?
I say the police are way off base, and if the district attorney, and I think it's Nassau County on Long Island, has any common sense, any sense of decency, and any sense of what justice is supposed to be in America, the district attorney will not prosecute this case. If, in fact, the prosecutor persists in these trumped-up charges against this family man, who, as you say, was simply trying to protect his family and, coincidentally, not harm anybody else unless he has to, he was behaving very responsibly, then I think that a jury, even in New York, a jury would not find this man guilty. But it's a strange environment out there, and the influence of Michael Bloomberg in New York City, which is not far at all from Uniondale on Long Island, where this man lived. There still is a lot of anti-firearm, anti-personal defense, self-defense, sentiment up in that area.
Yeah, I mean, you look at this, and there he is saying, like you said, they threatened him with words. They said they were going to kill him. They were going to kill his family. The police say he had the gun legally. He has no criminal record. And he wasn't even charged because of the firearm.
It's absolutely outrageous. I mean, there apparently were at least 24 of these thugs, and that's apparently what they were, common thugs, on his yard and surrounding his house, taunting him. And even though he was this is a very honest man, he could perhaps very easily have avoided this situation. Excuse me, if he had simply told the police, yeah, I thought I saw a gun, or I thought I saw weapons or whatnot. But he was honest. He said, no, I didn't see a weapon. But he clearly and reasonably feared for his life, and he did a very responsible thing. He didn't shoot at them. He didn't shoot up in the air, which possibly could have harmed somebody. He simply fired a few rounds into the ground to scare them off, and the police, for his responsible behavior, arrest him and charge him.
Yeah, they charge him with felony reckless endangerment.
I know. There are Jenny. You and I ought to have a show about this sometime. Just the over criminalization in our society. There are so many different ways that police and prosecutors can charge people. At the federal level, there are well over 4,000 individual criminal offenses. And then you add to that all of the state and local offenses, and it's virtually impossible for a law-abiding citizen to go through the day without doing something that some overzealous police officer or prosecutor could charge them with.
Yeah, I mean, it's interesting, too, because, he said that he told his wife to call the police. I thought it was, when you're in a situation like that, the way he was thinking, it was obvious he was concerned about everything that was going on, because he talked about the spot shooter technology that they use in the police department, and he wanted to fire his gun because he knew that would set them off, get them into the area. And, that's a pretty savvy guy when he's looking at a group of people that could easily kill him.
Well, he's I think, very responsible. He's a good citizen. He did everything that he should have done. I couldn't, as I sit here talking with you, tell you that I would have behaved as rational and as even-keeled as he did.
That's a good word.
He's a remarkable man.
Yep, even-keeled, that's a good word. And, really, the police went after the wrong guy. These thugs are still roaming the streets. They don't care about their lives. They don't care about the people they kill, this MS-13 gang. And, I was reading this, and I was thinking, if it was anything other than an AK-47, you think they might be treating the guy different?
Oh, they love it. An AK-47. It becomes an assault weapon, as you know. Even though it's clearly not. an assault weapon. It was not capable of automatic fire, which is an essential component of the definition of an assault weapon. But it could very well have been. But in New York nowadays, it's hard to tell. Even if he had had a different type of firearm, a lever action 30-30 Winchester, Model 94 or something, they probably would have done the same thing. But I'm glad that you're talking about this and publicizing it, because it's the sort of thing that American citizens, law-abiding citizens, particularly those with families and who responsibly practice gun ownership, they need to know about this.
Yeah, and they had a story actually in the New York Post today talking about how these celebrities, including ex-Giants wide receivers, how rappers, they get off easy. They're packing heat illegally in the city, and they wiggle out of these jail sentences. They do minimal time, and yet they go after a guy like this who's saying, you know what, I'm trying to do what I have to do to protect my family. And
it really also, it's insidious, Jenny, because it diminishes public confidence in law enforcement. When people see this sort of ridiculous thing here, instead of thanking the man for behaving responsibly, he gets arrested, and so people are going to say, there's no justice. They lose credibility in our justice system.
Yep, and I know you've been traveling around, and I'm sure you're hearing from people. You're looking at the November elections coming up. I mean, have you ever seen an election that people said is so important as this one?
This one is terribly important, Jenny, because of the direction that the country is going in nationally, and I think that there is going to be a substantial turnover, much more than normal in the House and even in the Senate. Whereas, as you know, in most election cycles, even though there's a lot of complaints about members of Congress and their poll numbers are low, the fact of the matter is that in a normal election year, 95% or more of members of Congress are reelected. I don't think we're going to see that this time. I think in some respects, although it's not going to be precisely the same as the 94 election, when I was elected and so many other new members were elected, I think it's going to be very similar to that.
Mm-hmm. It's going to be interesting, and I've been talking to John Bolton recently, about everything from the United Nations to what's going on the border, and he talks about how this, as far as our rights and our freedoms, this president is more concerned about his international image than really standing up for who we are as Americans. Do you see it that way also?
It's a very mixed picture internationally. I don't disagree with everything that the president is engaged in. I think it's important to reach out to other nations in the Middle East and elsewhere to try and resolve issues and reach some sort of agreement, always holding some cards close to your chest, including those involving military action, certainly. But particularly at the United Nations, I'm very, very concerned about this strong push, as you and I have talked about so many times, by the United Kingdom and other nations that not only don't enjoy the liberties that we have here in America, but resent the fact that we have them and they don't. This push for an arms trade treaty, I'm very, very concerned about that.
Yep, and you got Hillary Clinton, Secretary of State, turning Arizona over to the Human Rights Commission for review.
I tell you, some things are, if they weren't serious, they'd be funny.
I know. All righty, Bob. Always good to talk to you. Thanks so much. And let's hope Mr. Greer has a better outcome than he's had. I mean, it's just terrible what happened to this man. Let's hope, as you said, common sense prevails.
Well, I'll be following it, and I know you and your listeners will. And anytime something happens and you'd like to chat about it, just give me a holler.
I will do so. And you take care. Safe travels to you.